Okay, Stephen, you're looking at a picture. Please describe what you see.
I can see a red double-decker bus. It's the kind of bus you'll see very often in London. In fact, I know this bus is from London because I can see the names: Chelsea, Sloane Square, Victoria, Charing Cross. These are all areas in London, so obviously the bus is in London.
Okay. Have you ever been on a double-decker bus?
Oh yeah, many times. When I was younger, you used to get double-decker buses all over England, but now you only really tend to see them in the big cities.
Oh, really? How much is the fare?
Well, it depends on the journey. I guess it's not too expensive, but the minimum price you would pay is for a short journey is about £1.
Yeah. Who can you see on the bus? Like, can you pick out anybody on the bus that looks interesting?
Yeah. Well, this girl here at the back that's leaning on the door, she looks really bored, actually. Yeah. Maybe she's going to work or something and she doesn't want to go.
Yeah. Is that how you feel on the bus?
Well, no, not really, because I haven't worked in England for a long time, so I haven't taken the bus for a long time.
Well, so you're British, so do you miss England?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Okay, great, thanks a lot.
No problem.
Okay, hello, Matt.
Hello, Todd.
Matt, I'm going to ask you some questions about pets.
Okay.
First question, do you have a pet?
Yes, at my mom's house we have three pets, 2 dogs and a cat. My family actually raises dogs for helping blind people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Like, how do they train the dogs?
How do they train the dogs? Well, I mean, it's a long process, right? I mean, we get them when they're puppies, and so we train them basic, sit, come, really basic things. And then after they're about 2 years old, they go to different training school.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Why? How many dogs do they usually train at a time?
Just one. We have our own dog, and then we have a dog that we have that we're training.
Okay.
Yeah, just one dog at a time.
Do you ever see the dogs you train, like, out on the street or anything?
Sometimes we see them. They'll have, like, sort of conventions of, or reunions of the pets, and so, yeah, you get to see them every once in a while.
Oh, wow, that's cool. That's cool. Why do people keep pets?
I guess the most important thing is companionship, right? So there's somebody always there for you that will like you no matter what.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, besides cats, dogs, and fish, what are some other pets people keep?
Well, I guess if you're Siegfried and Roy, you can keep a tiger or lion. I guess all types of things, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, my friend has a snake, or I don't know if you mentioned that, snake and ferrets and insects, spiders, all kinds of things.
All right. Yeah, that's like there's so many. What are some costs associated with keeping a pet?
Food is probably the biggest cost, but also if you keep the dog, particularly a dog, in your house, and when they're puppies, and we have a lot of puppies, they'll chew up everything they can.
Yeah.
So we're replacing shoes and cleaning up pee from the carpet and things like that. So it can be a hassle.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, Matt. And by the way, where are you from?
I'm from the USA, from Minnesota.
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt.
Okay, my mother and father. Let's see. My mom is 3 years older than my dad, and they are like night and day. My mom is 5'4" on a good day, 5'2", I think, in real life, and she's very sweet and very nice and very caring and very cute. Everybody tells her how young she looks and how she resembles my sister, perhaps. My father is very much completely opposite that. He's a very big man, very loud, very funny, very boisterous. He makes friends no matter where he goes. For example, sometimes he goes to Florida and makes all sorts of new friends. He'll just go by himself, and he's kind of a magnet to people. And so my parents are completely opposite, and they complement each other very well. my dad has a very good sense of humor, and my mom is very, very gentle and very nice.
Wow. Okay. When's the last time you talked to your parents?
I talked to them probably about 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything's going well with them.
Okay. Are you going to see them soon?
I'm going to go home after the holidays, and we're going to have a Christmas kind of in January or February. Yeah, depending on when my brother can come in. So.
Okay. And who are you more like, your mother or your father?
I think I have traits of both, actually. I look more like my mother, except for I'm about a foot taller than she is.
Yeah, a little taller.
But yeah, and I resemble my mom more, but I think I have both of the characteristics of my mom and dad.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Thanks.
So, hello, Michael.
Hello, Todd.
We're going to talk about Australia, or you're going to talk about Australia. So, first of all, how many people live in Australia?
Australia? Oh, there's about 20 million people living in Australia right now. A little bit under, but close to 20.
Okay. What are the biggest cities?
The biggest city is Sydney. Mm-hmm. Then it's followed by Melbourne, and then Brisbane. And then I think it's Perth. But most of the big cities are on the east coast of Australia. And there's Perth is on the west coast. That's sort of out there by itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had to live in one place, where would you live?
I like Brisbane. I had my teenage years in Brisbane, growing up in Brisbane. Or maybe Sydney, because it's a big city. But Brisbane's got the Gold Coast and the sunshine.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Thanks. Actually, what is the capital city of Australia?
Canberra is the capital city, but it's not the biggest city.
Okay.
Sydney is the biggest city. Canberra was made sort of by the politicians, so Sydney wouldn't get too crowded.
Okay.
It's a separate territory.
Yeah.
Have
you been to all the major cities in Australia?
I've been to Melbourne when I was young, but yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah. Only short time in Perth.
Okay. What's the best thing about Australia?
Best thing about Australia? Probably the friendly people, relaxed attitude, and we like visitors.
Okay.
You know, other cultures. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How are Australians different than other people? How are they unique?
How are Australians unique? I would say that we're more fun-loving, maybe, or accepting of other people. And we don't mind, making new friends and actually conversing with other people.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's nice. Okay, thanks a lot, Michael.
No worries.
Ceremony or anything? Yes. Ikebana. It's an art of flowers, and it's quite different from Western style of flower arrangement because in Ikebana's theory, you can decorate one flower with only one flower.
Oh, really?
And the flower arrangement in Japan is not only decorate flowers, but it's an art with flowers and space, air between the flowers and also the room and everything. It shows the space or even the universe in that.
And what's another Japanese art?
Japanese art? Ikebana, tea ceremony.
Tea ceremony.
Tea ceremony.
Tell me about tea ceremony.
Tea ceremony. There's certain ways you have to make tea. Not only make tea, there's a certain way to, for example, wipe a bowl.
I see.
Yes, with one piece of cloth. And you need to learn how to fold the cloth so that you use each part of the cloth only once to wipe the bowl.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a complicated traditional procedure in a sense. But
how do you learn that? Is that something that your mother would teach you, or how do people learn that?
No, there are some professionals for both flower arrangement and tea ceremony. So you need to go
to school.
Yes, and learn from your teacher and their hierarchy in the organization, and you need to pass each test to climb up the ladder in the hierarchy.
I see.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Anne, you spent quite a bit of time in Australia recently, so why don't you talk about that?
I really liked living in Australia. I was an international student and I studied education at the University of Sydney. And living in Sydney was fantastic because I could go to the beach anytime I wanted, and there was a great nightlife in Sydney. There were lots of great clubs, and people were very, very friendly and easygoing, and I met a lot of international people living in Sydney.
Mm-hmm. How long were you there?
I was there for almost a year.
Oh, okay.
And I traveled a little bit in Australia.
Okay.
I went up the East Coast, up to Fraser Island, which is a World Heritage Site, and I saw dingoes running along the beach and sharks in the water. We climbed cliffs and went through a rainforest and went camping. And then we went up to the Whitsundays, which is a bit further north. And the further north you go in Australia, the hotter it gets. So we were able to go swimming in the ocean, and I went diving for the first time, but it was a little bit risky because I didn't have a diving license.
Oh.
So I went on an introductory dive, and I saw a giant clam that had a really spongy purple inside that I was able to touch, and then the clam closed up really quickly.
So did you lose your finger?
Almost.
Almost. You're lucky. It's funny, you go in the water and you think, you worry about sharks, not clams.
Exactly.
Will you be going back to Australia soon?
I'd like to go and live there for at least another year.
Mm-hmm.
Probably I'll go back to Sydney, or I might go down to Melbourne,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a really interesting cultural city. They have a lot of museums and parks.
Okay, you got to choose real quick. Only one city. Montreal or Sydney? Which do you choose?
Sydney, without a doubt.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Devin, I've been putting on a few pounds, and you're quite a lean, fit guy.
Well, thank you.
What do you recommend? Like, what can I do to lose weight?
Well, I exercise a lot. I go running at least 3 times a week, but more than that, I enjoy playing sports.
Uh-huh.
And so, different sports use different muscles, and all of it helps to lose that weight that you might have gained.
Yeah. Well, actually, one of the problems is I actually exercise a lot.
Do ya?
Yeah, so maybe it's my diet.
It could be. And so in that case, you might want to eat something perhaps more nutritious.
Yeah.
Or maybe even less of what you do eat.
Yeah.
Maybe I eat 3 meals a day, and I try not to snack in between.
Yeah.
No potato chips, no popcorn, no candy bars.
That's pretty tough.
It is tough, but, well, I must admit I cheat every once in a while, but...
Okay, I'll give it a try. Okay, actually, see, my problem is I like junk food.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have to choose, either I eat less or I eat a better diet. What do you think is more important?
I think that if you're exercising, then you should just eat what you want and eat less.
Eat less?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is going to be tough.
Well, I have no doubt that you'll do the best that you can.
All right. Thanks a lot, Devin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hello, Gabrielle.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Good, thanks.
Now, Gabrielle, I hear that you're going back home to New Zealand.
That's right. I'm going home for summer.
Okay, what are your plans?
Probably a week relaxing, going camping, and then I'm going back to work.
Oh, okay. Where do you work in New Zealand?
I teach as an English teacher in Christchurch in New Zealand.
Oh, okay. And that's where you're from, naturally.
That's right.
Were you born there?
I was, yeah.
Okay, well, you're going to have this short little break or vacation. You're going to go to the beach, go to the mountains?
Probably to the beach and camping for about a week with friends.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Actually, how warm is it in the summer in New Zealand?
Probably maximum of 30 degrees, so it's a nice dry heat.
Okay.
Yeah, very comfortable.
So when you go to the beach, is the water warm enough to swim in?
No. Well, we swim, but it's not warm. Yeah, it's pretty chilly actually. But
okay.
Yeah.
Any other plans when you go home?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to catching up with friends and family and animals.
Animals?
I miss my pets.
Okay, well, what pets do you have?
Well, I have a cat and a dog and a sheep called Sydney and 2 goldfish. Actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and I really miss them.
Oh, well, I'm sure they're really excited to see you.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Okay, Leith, you're from Zimbabwe. Could you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm from Harare, which is the capital of Zim, and I was born there. My folks are British. My dad's from Manchester and my mom's from Scotland, but they went out a long time ago. And growing up in Zimbabwe was lekker, as we say there. That means really cool in Afrikaans. It was lekker. You grow up in a big, open, free place with animals and sunshine, and it's just a really healthy place to be. Well, at least it was. Today it's not doing too well because the economy's crashed, but growing up there was really slick.
Wow. What animals could you see?
Just about an hour's drive out of any city, you're liable to come across just about anything. I've seen leopards often at night, about an hour out of the capital where I live. You see monkeys along the road, right up to the city outskirts. In certain areas, you'll have to stop for elephants. There's quite a few buck warning signs because they're actually quite dangerous at night. They jump across the road and your cars hit them at windscreen height. It is a bit of a problem.
Man.
So there's buck everywhere. And then away from residential areas, there's your big 5, rhino, lion being the most interesting, I guess, for foreigners. But they're never really around human settlement because they're very, very dangerous. They do take people from time to time.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. All right, thanks a lot, Lee.
You're welcome, buddy. Okay.
So, Carrie, I hear you have a new house.
Yes, I do.
Oh, so what's your new house like?
It's small, it's old, it's mostly wooden in the inside, has 2 bedrooms and a balcony off of those rooms. And downstairs, there's a living room area and a tatami mat room, kitchen, bathroom.
Wow, so do you live in the tatami room?
No, there's 2 tatami mat rooms. There's one upstairs and there's one downstairs, and I don't live in either. One we use is kind of a spare room, and the other one is my roommate's bedroom.
Okay. Oh, so you have a roommate?
Yes.
Okay. What's it like having a roommate?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I like living alone too, but sometimes it's nice to come home and have someone there. And my roommate gets home before I do, and she likes to cook, so often she's cooked dinner for me.
Wow, that's nice.
I know.
So you do all the cleaning?
Well, actually, now that you mention it, I do a lot of the cleaning, but no, not all of it.
Oh, okay. Well, what kind of things does she make you?
Last night she made curry. I think it was an Indian curry.
Oh, wow.
Tomato-based.
Spicy?
Yes.
Cool. All right, thanks a lot, Carrie.
You're welcome.
Okay, Charlotte, you've been a teacher for quite a while.
Yeah, I started about 3 years ago, and my first job was in Rzeszów in the east of Poland. I was promised that I wasn't going to have to teach any beginners or any little children because it was my first job, and I was promptly given the beginner infants. My first day of teaching, I was given a book which said, just go into the classroom and say hello to the children, and they'll all say hello back to you and wave. I walked into a class of 5 4-year-olds, followed by all their mothers and grandmothers. I said hello, and they all burst into tears. I spent half the lesson trying to get them to say hello to each other and stop them crying while all the grandmothers stood round and stared at me. I finally finished off by singing the whatever Happy Princess song, all on my own, with crying infants to accompany me. It was one of the worst days of my life. I could identify with all the children though, because I wanted to sit on the floor and cry with them by the end of it. I think that's when I realised that teaching kids was never going to be my vocation. I had some other classes as well, but quite soon after that I moved on to adults who cry slightly less. Yeah, that was my first teaching experience, not the best.
Okay. Okay, we're back with Gina. Do you want to talk about your summer vacation?
Sure.
Okay.
I went to Las Vegas, Nevada, Reno, Nevada, Tahoe, California, and San Diego, California, and went to Disneyland.
Wow, sounds like a really good time.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun.
What was the best place?
Probably Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
It was the most interesting.
Okay, why was it the most interesting?
It was just really busy, and there was always stuff going on, you know, never resting.
Okay. For example, what stuff was going on? Like, what did you do?
Well, we went shopping a lot in a lot of different casinos that had malls in them.
Uh-huh.
Went and visited the Hoover Dam.
Oh, wow.
So,
it's pretty big.
Yeah, really big.
That's a lot of water. Did you go swimming?
No.
No. Can you swim in the Hoover Dam?
You can swim in the reservoir.
I mean, in the reservoir.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. How did Las Vegas?
By plane from Oakland to Las Vegas.
Okay, how long did it take?
About an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay. Do you think you'll go back to Las Vegas someday in the future?
Hopefully.
Okay. Great. Thanks a lot, Gina.
Welcome.
Okay, hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Good.
What's your name?
My name is Kevin.
Kevin. And where are you from?
I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, nice.
In the United States.
Wow, were you born in Phoenix?
Actually, no. I was actually born in New York because my parents happened to be living in New York at that time. My father was a Major League Baseball player, and the year I was born, 1971, he was playing with the Mets in New York City, and my birthday is in May 25th to be precise, and so my mother happened to be with my father in New York because it was baseball season, so I was actually born in New York, but I grew up in Phoenix, so Phoenix is what I consider to be my hometown.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you remember anything about New York?
Yes, actually I do have a few memories because we spent probably years there. From the time I was born, obviously, until I was about 2.5 or 3 years old, we spent the summers or the baseball seasons in New York. And we rented a condominium on the second floor, and I remember it was right across the street from LaGuardia Airport. And so, of course, when I was a little kid, 1 and 2 years old, I used to love sitting by the kitchen windows, and I even remember it was a bay window, the kind where you can roll the window open.
Yeah.
And I used to roll the window open and just watch the airplanes take off and land all day.
Wow.
And
that's cool.
Another memory I have is the couple that lived below us was an elderly couple, and they acted pretty much like our grandparents. So I actually called them Grandma and Grandpa. And Grandma Stevenson used to give me a bath in her kitchen sink because I was so small.
Wow.
That she would actually give me a bath in her kitchen sink, and I remember that as well.
Wow, those are good memories. So JJ, I hear you've got a good living arrangement.
I love it. And of course, you know, like any person, I was a little bit leery about living with roommates, but at the same time I thought living in a foreign country, I didn't want to isolate myself completely, especially since I don't speak the language. And I first met Jessica at the airport, and when we were close to tears from laughing so hard on the train ride from the airport to Matsudo Station, I realized this was going to be a good living arrangement. And we got here, and the Brits had taken one half of the apartment, and so we Americans moved into the other half and have gotten along brilliantly. Even the little squabbles that tend to come up seem to be solved fairly quickly, maturely, and I love it. This is the best living arrangement I've ever had. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I think it's kind of something that can be expected when you come to teach abroad. Mm-hmm. It takes a certain kind of person to decide to leave everything familiar behind and meet new people, have new experiences. You're not taping any of this, are you?
No, I am, actually. Thanks a lot, JJ. Okay, Conrad, you're quite the jock.
Thanks, Doug.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about sports.
All right.
What sports do you like?
Well, I like a lot of sports, but basketball is my favorite, definitely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. How long have you been playing basketball?
Let's see, probably about 30 years. I'm 37 now, and I think I was in elementary school when I started to play it first.
Wow. At what age were you your best?
Oh, let's see, probably around 20, maybe. Sometime when I was in college. Yeah.
Wow. What position did you play when you played basketball?
Guard. Guard. A little bit of forward, depending on what kind of team I was playing on.
Yeah. Were you mainly an offensive or defensive player?
Defensive. Yeah.
Okay. Do you still watch a lot of basketball on TV?
Well, now living in Japan, I don't get many chances to watch the NBA, but I do follow it on internet.
Okay. Basketball?
Yeah. I play about once a week with at the university I work at with the club team there.
Okay. Great. All right. Thanks a lot, Conrad.
Sure. No problem, Todd.
Okay, Jamie. We're going to talk about movies.
Okay, great.
What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is kind of a heavy movie. It's called Sophie's Choice with Meryl Streep and Kevin Kline.
Okay.
It's a movie. It's set in World War II. Meryl Streep plays a Polish woman who has come to America, and she's met a man, Kevin Kline, who has a series of problems of his own, mostly psychological, which she's not 100% aware of. And she does a bunch of scenes where she thinks of the past and the very difficult decision she had while during the war, living in Poland. She had to decide between two children which one would be murdered by the Nazis and which one wouldn't. And it's obviously it's an ethical dilemma that she faced, that she had to make an immediate decision on, and affected her for the rest of her life.
Okay,
it's a fantastic movie. Not the story in itself. Of course, the story is brilliant, but the acting, the fact she speaks Polish, she speaks German, and she speaks English with a Polish accent, which is amazing. A writer who's actually a narrator through the movie as well. His character is great, and then Kevin Kline's basically a psycho character because he's a little bit deranged in itself. It's pretty neat. So all in all, the characters, the plot line, the movie, it's fantastic.
Okay, great. Sophie's Choice.
Sophie's Choice. It's I think actually won an Academy Award in 1985 or 84.
Okay, great. All right, thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
Yeah, look at them all lean in as they want to hear this story. It starts out sickeningly sweet. I was in a musical, Cinderella, and I was Cinderella. And the guy who played the prince and I started to date. And we got pretty serious, and then he was trying to get rid of an ex who kept bothering him, and so he decided to come to Japan to teach English, and we, all during the summer, we had plans, I would come and visit and all that kind of stuff. We were really excited about it, and he was a model at the agency, and at the same agency where I was an actor, and so we had the same agent. He went to Japan and was teaching. We were writing back and forth, looking forward to seeing you, all that kind of stuff, and I was having lunch with my agent one day and telling her that I had started taking Japanese and I had been planning out my trip and I was very excited about this whole thing, and she says, JJ, I don't know how to tell you this. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what? And she says, yeah, Richard's ex-girlfriend flew out to Japan and they got married.
Ooh.
Oh my God. Married. And so,
no.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
It's like I needed a ladder to get on a piece of paper, really. I mean, it was a devastating, that first broken love kind of thing, but.
Did you hear from him afterwards?
Yeah. We were always just friends, apparently. Yeah, and so not only the adding the insult to the industry.
Yeah.
Is that what I meant?
Yeah.
Insult to injury was him saying that we were always just friends.
Okay, Devin, I hear that you took the train across Russia.
Yes, I started in Moscow, traveled through Russia, Mongolia, and ended up in China.
Wow. That's a long way.
Yes, it was. It took 3 weeks. I did it as part of a tour. with 10 other people.
Yeah, that's a cool trip.
Mm-hmm.
That must have cost a lot of money.
It did cost a lot of money, but not a lot of people can say that they have done that.
Yeah.
So I researched the trip several months before I actually took it. A friend and I did it together, and there was one other American, and the rest of the people were from Switzerland.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. What was the landscape like?
A lot of it was flat, and for miles around you could see absolutely nothing.
Really?
And as you got into Siberia, there was scattered trees, and when we got into Mongolia, you could see some camels every once in a while.
Oh, wow.
But besides that, there was a whole lot of nothing.
Wow, just wild camels.
Wild camels around the drinking hole. Yes, saw that more than once.
Man. So how did you eat on this train?
We stopped several times along the way, and upon every platform you could buy food that local people were selling. A lot of it consisted of dried fish and other types of Russian delicacies, and a lot of noodles that you heated up with hot water. Every train had hot water on it in every carriage, and so you were always able to make noodles if you were desperate.
So was this a luxurious train, or was it a pretty basic?
It was pretty much the most basic you could get. There were no animals on board, but sometimes they were coal heated, so it was very basic.
Would you do it again?
Great question. Would I do it again? Yes, I would do it again, but I would wait several years to do it. One, because it does cost a lot of money, and two, because there are many other things to do, to see.
Okay. Great. Thanks a lot, Devin.
You're very welcome.
Okay, Victor, tomorrow you're flying home.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so are you afraid of flying?
No, flying's fine.
Really? Back home for your job, do you fly?
No, I drive to work and to different assignments.
Okay, you never have to fly to go to conventions or other cities or stuff like that?
Once or twice each year I do fly to go to conventions connected with my work.
Okay. Now tomorrow you have a really long flight.
That's correct.
It's probably about 15 hours?
From Narita to Washington, D.C. is 12 hours in the air.
Wow. So how do you pass the time on the plane?
On the plane, I like to sleep as much as possible.
Okay. Do you take medication, or you just have a beer? Or?
No, I don't take any medication. I just, I tend to stay up late the day before so that I'm so tired I will want to sleep on the plane.
Well, good strategy, and I hope you have a good flight.
Thank you very much.
Okay, hello.
Hello there.
How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Stephen, and I come from the north of England.
Oh, really? Where in the north of England?
A little village called Garswood.
Mm-hmm. Is it a big place?
No, it's about 10,000 people, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you go back there often?
Not so often. The last time I went back was Christmas.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was very nice. I saw friends and family and did the usual Christmas things.
Mm-hmm. What are the usual Christmas things?
Oh, I guess a lot of eating, a lot of drinking, a lot of laughing. Just general fun and games, I guess.
Oh, great. How many of your family members still live in this town?
Well, they don't actually. My mum and dad live in the town, and my brother and sister actually live pretty close to this town. So my family's all in that general area.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Thanks a lot, Stephen.
So Jessica, you've got a brother called Kirk?
Yeah, that's right. He is 2.5 years older than I am, and we get along very well now.
You get along very well now. How did you get along in the past?
Not very well at all, actually. He was always very mean and heartless, should we say.
What was the first thing you remember him doing to you?
Perhaps the first thing was the time that I fell asleep on the bus when I was in kindergarten. He actually left me there sleeping, and I didn't wake up until my lunchbox fell on the ground when the bus driver was parking in the bus garage. not. So anyway, I learned at that point not to really depend on him so much.
What did your mom say when he got home?
My mom asked my brother, "Hey, aren't you forgetting something?" referring to me. And he recited, "Hey, how did you know I forgot my homework?"
Hey, Matt, we're back. We're going to talk about music.
Okay.
What is your favorite kind of music?
My favorite kind of music is alternative music. But generally I like all types of music, apart from country music.
I'm the same way. I hate country.
Yeah.
Except for Johnny Cash. He's
Yeah. The older country music is good. But the newer, I really don't like the newer stuff.
Yeah. How expensive are CDs in your country?
Well, a brand new CD is probably between about $15 and $20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you can find used CDs, for anything from $1 to, $20, I guess, depending on the CD. So you can find cheap CDs.
Oh, that's pretty cheap. Do you play a musical instrument?
No, I don't. Although when I was a kid, I played the piano and a little bit of the guitar, but I've long since forgotten.
Oh, really?
All of that, yeah.
Okay. Usually you pick up the guitar, right? You don't stop playing it.
Yeah, well, there was no talent.
Do you go to concerts?
I really enjoy going to concerts, but I like to go to small venues, small shows. I don't like those big stadium shows where you need binoculars just to see the stage.
Yeah, I agree. And the last question, most importantly, do you sing in the shower?
Of course I do, yes.
Really?
Every chance I get, yeah.
Well, what kind of songs do you sing?
Oh, wow. I guess anything that's in my head, the last thing I heard, I guess.
Yeah, can you sing something right now?
I don't think so. This isn't a shower.
Okay. Yeah. Important for the listeners. It's not the shower. All right. Thanks a lot, Matt.
Sure.
Hello.
Hello, Seattle.
Hello, Seattle. Okay. Well, how about you introduce yourself to the listener?
Okay. Hi, I'm David. I am from Tennessee, the home of Jack Daniel's whiskey and Elvis Presley.
Do you like Elvis?
He's okay.
Yeah? Cool.
Never met the guy, but...
So your name is David?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, but what does everybody call you here?
Tennessee.
Okay. And why do they call you Tennessee?
2 reasons. One, I'm from Tennessee, the most obvious reason. And the third is because usually there's 2 to 3. One time there was 4 Davids here.
Oh, I see.
And to keep us from getting confused, they just started calling me Tennessee.
Oh, nice. Okay. Great. Well, it's nice to meet you, David.
Nice to meet you too, Todd.
Okay, Kevin, we're back here in the forest. We're going to talk about sports.
Okay, great. I love sports.
What sports do you like?
Well, my favorite sport is baseball. Obviously, I grew up and my father was a baseball player, so I was always around baseball my whole life.
You mean your father was a player in the major leagues?
Yeah, exactly. And not only was he a player in the major leagues, he was fortunate enough to play in the World Series twice with the New York Mets.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the amazing Mets, 1969.
Oh, that's great. Did you play baseball yourself?
Yeah, I played baseball pretty much my whole life up through college and university.
Okay. Why did you stop?
Well, it wasn't exactly by choice. I wasn't drafted high enough in professional baseball in order for me to sign, so I ended up retiring from baseball and pursuing other things.
Okay, great. Do you like any other sports?
Yeah, I enjoy all competition. I enjoy the other typical American sports of basketball and American football and so on. But I also try to learn about and enjoy the national sports of the countries that I'm in. For example, now I'm in Japan, and I've actually gotten quite into sumo wrestling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Have you ever seen a sumo match live?
Yes, I have. I've been to 2 sumo bashos, as they call them, or matches, in Tokyo.
Nice. Yeah, I want to go myself.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for watching, Kevin.
Sometime.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right.
So, Annalie, have you always been an English teacher?
No, actually, I started out as a French teacher. That was my first job.
Wow. So, tell me about your first job.
My first job, I was working in central west Queensland in Australia, so it was quite a remote place.
Sure.
For example, the nearest supermarket was about 100 kilometres away.
That's amazing. Wow, wow.
And so, of course, some of the students lived a long way away from the school, so they had their lessons by teleconference, actually, at School of the Air.
Wow, so when you had a teleconference, for example, how many students would be on air at the same time?
I guess around 8 in 2 different locations.
Wow.
And I'd be in the 3rd location, so...
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And how often would you be teaching like this?
Well, the students were aged between 9 and 12 years old, and they had 2 French lessons a week by teleconference.
Wow. And how long was each lesson?
45-minute lessons.
Great. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Hello, Anne. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Anne, can you introduce yourself and tell people where you're from?
Yeah, my name's Anne Hutchison, and I'm from Montreal, Canada. And right now, I'm an English teacher in Tokyo, Japan.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's Montreal like?
Montreal is a really nice city. It's just very cold in the wintertime.
Uh-huh.
It has 4 seasons, and the nicest season is the summertime because it's really warm and people play a lot of sports, and there are some parks in Montreal, and you can go swimming and hiking and biking and rollerblading. It's a very interesting city.
Wow. Were you born in Montreal?
I was born in Montreal,
Mm-hmm.
and I can speak 2 languages. English is my first language, but I also studied French in high school.
So were you in a submersion program where all your subjects were in French?
No, I went to an English high school, but a lot of people in Montreal are in immersion programs.
Okay. Since you learned French, what do you think is the best way to learn a language?
I think that you have to like learning another language.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a positive attitude, then you can find learning another language fun rather than stressful.
Mm.
So I think that I had a few French friends, and we would practice, and they would be very patient. And I liked the fact that I could communicate using another language, because then you have another identity.
You have your French identity.
I do.
Okay. So what's your name in French?
Mon nom est Anne.
Oh, okay. Wow. I need to get myself a French name.
Todd.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Anne.
You're welcome. Nice speaking with you.
The first time I moved to Poland, I wanted to live with a foreign family so that I could learn Polish language. I went to live with a couple in their 70s whose children had moved away from home. They started treating me like a second daughter. At first it was really fun because they'd encourage me to speak and they'd act everything out for me, including my landlord's experiences during the Second World War in Poland, where he'd stand up and perform. But after a while it got a bit wearing, because when I was out the house, he would go into my bedroom and start picking up my dirty underwear from the floor, fold it and leave it on the bookshelf for me. He'd also go into the bathroom, take my underwear off the line and hang it outside so it would smell fresher. Sometimes he'd cook for me, which was great up to a point because I got to taste some real Polish home-cooked food. But when he decided that I really was his long-lost daughter and started chopping my egg for me and then trying to feed it to me, I began to feel that maybe it was starting to get time to move out. He'd also invite me into the living room so that I could watch Polish TV and improve my language, and then spend half the television show prodding me and getting me to speak to him in very fast Polish. He was very kind to my friend Kathy when she came over to stay, but unfortunately he wanted me to translate his thoughts on the Polish economy from very fast Polish into English at the same time she was asking me to translate her ideas on English cricket into Polish. Nonetheless, it was an experience I wouldn't have missed.
Haley, do you want to go ahead and talk about the story you were going to say?
Okay. This was about, I'd say, a year and a half ago, and it was in Harare, the capital, where my mom lives. I was on holiday back home seeing my mom. And anyway, it's a Sunday morning, and I was in the shower, got up pretty late, must have been about 10:30. And all of a sudden, my mom burst into the shower and she says, Leith, there's a snake in the kitchen. And so I thought, wow, blood, okay, what kind of snake would this be? Because we live in the capital, residential area, almost high-rise. Well, not high-rise, but residential area. And so I put a towel around my waist and walked bad-temperedly through to the kitchen. Attached to the kitchen, we've got this little courtyard where we sit out to have morning coffee and breakfast. It's tiled and leads onto a small garden. And so I walked out into the courtyard, and there was a 7-foot Egyptian cobra. Wow, I was really, really blown away, because I know a bit about snakes, and I know that a bite from an Egyptian cobra in a country where antidote isn't readily available is almost certainly fatal. And there we were, my mom and I, with a 7-foot Egyptian cobra slithering between the courtyard and our kitchen. And eventually we trapped it in the courtyard, and I went to fetch guys who work for national parks. National parks are the guys who kind of look after animal problems within the city, and brought them around. And we were hoping that they were going to catch it, but because Zimbabwe isn't so rich at the moment and stuff like that, they don't have the facilities to keep caught animals, so unless it's endangered, they just shoot it. So the guy shot our 7-foot cobra.
Wow, they shot it, huh?
Yeah, and we had to bury it out back.
Really? Oh, well, still, man, I'm glad. I mean, you just don't want to be bitten or anything, so.
No, no way.
What a story. Okay, thanks. Nicola, you were talking to us the other day that you went diving in Australia.
That's right, I did.
Well, so what was it like?
Well, actually it was quite scary, to be honest. When I first started, I did an introductory course, which was just maybe like 2 days. And so they just sent you out with all the equipment, put you in the sea and guided you. But then when I did the real course, we started in the swimming pool, which was fine, and it was all great fun. Although there were 2 men on my course who completely freaked out and had to leave.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that was fine, but then they took us out to sea, which was a bit different. Yeah. Because they made us set up our own equipment. I mean, they still checked us and everything, so we didn't die. But we had to put on our own equipment. We had a diving buddy who we were with, and I was with my friend Graham, who I was travelling with anyway. And we went down into the sea. We went down maybe 15 meters. And they always say, like, don't panic, just keep breathing normally and everything. But I did kind of panic a bit.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So then I rose to the surface really quickly, which, you're not supposed to do in diving.
Yeah.
So I went up quite quickly. Luckily, we weren't deep enough to do any damage. But my diving buddy Graham was having a great time down there looking at shipwrecks and stuff. I didn't even notice that I was missing.
Oh, what a terrible guy.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
So,
did they fail him? I hope he failed the course.
No, he passed. He paid enough money. He passed.
Oh.
But it meant that I couldn't go diving for the rest of the day because I'd already been down quite deep.
Yeah.
So that was a shame, but...
That's terrible.
Yeah.
But you didn't hurt yourself. You didn't come up too fast.
No, I was fine in the end, but it was a shame because that was the end of my diving day.
Yeah.
But we had a few more days to do it.
And so now you're comfortable diving. You don't freak out anymore.
I don't freak out anymore, but I couldn't go diving now on my own.
Yeah.
Because it's been so long.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay. Hey, Victor, I hear you're going home tomorrow.
Yes, I am.
That's too bad.
Yes.
So how long have you been here?
I've been here for 2 weeks.
And I'm sorry, I was never sure. Why did you come to Japan?
I came to Japan to study martial arts. Budo Taijutsu is the art that we study.
Okay, cool. So are you like a black belt or?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. How long have you been doing your martial arts?
I've been studying this art for about 18 years, I guess.
Really?
Long time.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
You're a young-looking guy. I wouldn't think like 18 years.
No. I'm an old guy.
Wow. Well, so when you go back to the States, you also train and...
Yes. We have a group that we train in martial arts there as a sort of a hobby. In a way, it's sort of a way of life also. But I have a real job. I'm a civil engineer.
So actually, what does a civil engineer do?
In America, a civil engineer designs things. In my case, I work on buildings that have structural problems, and I work on repair plans.
Okay. Wow, sounds like a tough job.
It's okay. It's interesting. All buildings need repairs, and it's fun.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Victor. Have a safe trip tomorrow.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, Karis, we're going to talk about high school. What was high school like for you?
It was a very interesting experience. I was in a high school in quite a rundown area. So it was the norm for girls to get pregnant at 14, leave school, and then come back at 16 and do their exams. So it was quite unique.
At 14?
At 14, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it was quite a strange environment to be in for somebody who didn't get pregnant.
Wow. Was it a rough neighborhood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. But did you have a good time?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed myself. It was great, as long as I kept myself out of trouble, which was hard because everyone was getting into trouble. But yeah, it was fine.
Wow. Okay. What do you remember most about high school?
I remember that the school dinners were disgusting.
Okay. And did you get good grades in high school?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your favorite subject?
My drama.
Okay. Do you still act?
No.
Okay. Do you still go to theater?
Yeah.
Okay.
To watch.
Just to watch? Great. Thanks a lot, Karis.
No worries.